موارد فاينانس فالك طيب.
We move to the next speaker. Fintech need advice, need guidance, needs insights. And let us hear it all from Chetan Parekh, managing partner at CEDA Consulting. Chetan, please.
Shit, big thank you for organizing such a beautiful forum at Mawarid Fintech and Innovation Summit. Morning, everyone. My name is Chetan Parekh. I am the managing partner for Cedar Fintech practice. I'm going to share a few insights on the market and some very interesting thoughts on the technology. Can I have the presentation? Yeah. So as all of you are aware, UAE is changing, and it's changing for good over the last half a decade, I would say. It has really grown. So we'll start with the banking landscape, then move into fintech landscape, which has changed in a big way, as Rashid highlighted, and innovation trends. No surprises, GCC is growing very, very fast. On the left, you can see three markets: UAE, Saudi Arabia, and Qatar forms a very significant portion of banking assets. What surprises you is UAE is as big as Saudi. So if anybody believes Saudi is multifold of UAE, that's not true in banking assets. UAE is as big as Saudi, and both of them are very, very close to each other with $1 trillion in assets. What's more interesting is UAE banks. UAE financial institutions are growing at 17%, its assets book. Globally, banks are growing at only 8%. So we are growing 2.5 times faster than the world. And that's what you will see in the coming years. UAE among top 5 nations globally in assets. So that's where UAE is heading. If you see within GCC also, the lower graph is showing you UAE growth. And UAE growth again is 200 basis points faster compared to all the GCC countries. So in few years, UAE will be the #1 economy in GCC from banking assets. And this was it. Again, look at ROEs. Some of the ROEs we are seeing is best in the industry, near 20% and growing. Month on month, 27%. It's not an annual growth, it's a monthly growth of 27%. And only one transaction in UAE is cash out of 6. It used to be absolutely opposite a few years back, where cash was in a huge market. But today, only 1 in 6. And again, no guesses for guessing as well. The journey which Emirates NBD and Mashrak started with Live and Neo today has 12 digital banks. And again, no guesses for guessing which is the fastest growing. It is Vayo. Vayo is growing at 3 times faster than bigger peers Live and Neo. So that's the size of Vayo. It's 100,000 plus corporate customers. And that's a very, very big achievement. There is hardly any banks in UAE who will have 100,000 customers on corporate and SME. Open banking again is going to change. It's growing at 20%. And APIs will be the primary products which banks will launch as we speak. So there are 3 models, I would say, which we've seen in the industry in last 1 year of change. AI and personalization, again, we may not see it, but it's happening. lot of products and offers which you get in your banking apps is no more human generated. It is generated by AI based on your transactions, based on your patterns. Liv, Neo, Vio, all of them are innovating on it. The whole open banking and ecosystem. So bringing fintechs like yours into the banking app. So that's what Vio and Expense have done. Both have unique offerings. Very, very recently, Vio launched investments and family banking. All of these are powered at the back using fintechs. You don't realize them, but it's a tie-ups. Expense does something similar as a payments license. Also sustainable financing. So that's again a change which we are seeing. Green financing, EV financing, sustainable financing. That's a new book which is being built by the banks. And people prefer it when it goes to type of lending they want to do. Moving to fintech landscape, it's grown. So we have in UAE now 340 plus fintechs. The biggest growth, again, as you can see, is payments, 28% of the fintechs. So 28% of the fintech is B2C and B2B payments. Financial services and personal finance is a second big category. And blockchain for the government commitment into blockchain. This number used to be 144 a few years back. So in last 4 years, it's more than doubled. Again, some of the names you will recognize on the right. Tabby, TPay, Zina, Mamo, Now, Beehive. These are very, very known names today, equally as some of the bigger banks and brands. And it's not a small funding, $265 million. Right? So almost a billion in dirhams. That's the funding size we are talking about. Now, if you see the landscape is very, very vast, where payments is the number one fintech area from an investments perspective. Alternate lending is catching up. So digital lending came late. But thanks to Al Ittihad Bureau and other government initiatives, we today have an instant lending capability in UAE. So those fintechs, like Flow, is a Flapcap, all of them have launched an offering either by themselves or in partnership with a bank. So that's again another big area. Blockchain is growing. Very soon you will see stable coins and many currencies being launched. So one of the biggest things you'll see in next 3 to 6 months is the blockchain-based launches by most of the banks on stable coins. If you look at top 5 in terms of innovation and trends, AI is number 1. So if you are not using AI models and not having an ethical policy around it on how it's going to impact your people, how it's going to impact your business, that's something you should really look at. It's very matured now from a usage perspective. There are lots of LLM and technologies available. Good part is UAE has a good quality data, which is a mandatory for AI. So many use cases you are able to do because thanks to government, we have a centralized databases, data platforms available to us. Digital banking, again, second largest growth area when it comes to banking and financial industry. Open finance, so that's next 5 years, where you will see from 100 to 350 to 400 APIs. Today, if you have to compare, Nordics have the most mature open banking, and they have 480 APIs, which is published between the financial institutions. UK, which is number 2 market globally, right, with close to 380 APIs. UAE has already published close to 180 APIs. So that's the banking APIs available, which can get launched into services going forward. Cross-border payments is changing. There used to be SWIFT only mechanism. Today, SWIFT is still a sizable volume, but there are competitive players available, Wise and multiple others who provide cross-border. PayPal, both of them are challenging the largely Swift business. Digital assets and blockchain. So that's the next material change in banking. Thanks to US policy change, most central banks will introduce digital currencies and different modes, and stable coins is coming. So that's a framework for which UAE has been ready. UAE has put a legal framework in place, policies in place, and now you will see e-dirham and multiple stable coins being launched by the banks. Now, when you look at the innovations, right, as I explained, AI-driven personalization is number one. The whole stablecoin regulatory framework, which is getting launched, it's going to regionally challenge the traditional money and cash. The green financing is going to challenge the traditional lending. Buy now, pay later is maturing now with the next level of sophistication. Open banking is still a technology. Businesses needs to make a business case and launch it as API libraries. And cloud adoption. UAE has most mature cloud platforms, right from Azure, Oracle, and AWS, who's come in very recently. So you now have top 3 in the world, and Google also is planning to launch a very large data center. So that you will have everything under the sun available in UAE, and you will become a regional base for most GCC countries' cloud need. Now, this is where we are on the left and where we are going. So as you can see, from a siloed and a digital transformation in a products form, we will have an AI-led, hyper-personalized model running. From an ideas to execution cycles, which runs 6 to 9, 12 months. It will be an agile product delivery every quarter for most of the digital products. From an automation culture where you used to have an RPA replacing people, you will have an end-to-end AI-led automation. From a rigid core banking systems where you had a monolithic systems and product processes, you will go into API-ready cloud infrastructure. There are 3 banks in UAE who has already migrated fully to the cloud, their core banking systems. So it's not no more concept, it's happening. And fragmented data and tools. People used to run their own data warehouses or multiple data platforms. It's a lean data-driven models built on an industry scalable cloud-based data models, which runs off the cloud, like Azure cloud and so on and so forth. So if you are a banker or a fintech player, my advice will be, look at these 6 things very, very clearly in your strategy. How AI is participating in your company to change. Do you have an AI strategy in place? Do you have somebody looking after AI initiatives? And have you prioritized your use cases for 2026? You don't need to do hundreds of things, just 3 or 5 things, which are going to have a material impact on your operations. Example, if you have a call center. Example, if you have a chatbot. Example, you have a risk model and a fraud management. These are highly matured AI models available, replacing headcounts and speed. The speed at which AI model operates is very different. Enhance your digital experience. Seriously look at your digital brand, even if you are a traditional bank or a finance company, and launch new generation digital experience. The younger generation in UAE, almost 70 to 80% of the consumer base going forward is going to be digitally oriented. Have a digital first approach. If you're launching traditional offerings, call center based offerings are things of past. Launch yourself in digital first. See how you can offer not only your mobile app, but an API also to your partners. And who are your partners? Somebody who is larger than you, who can bring customers for you. So bring an API based offering with throttling and monetizing your APIs, and build a very, very strong cybersecurity going forward. Your ability to secure your customer data and customer trust is going to be crucial for financial entities. Last but not the least, build a culture. All of this is not going to be working if your culture is not agile and willing to change, right? That's it from my side. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you liked it.